At 5 hours, 28 degrees Fahrenheit, Kurchatov, Russia, 38 miles from the Ukrainian border, the GOGOL-M Mothership, a 450-pound unmanned aerial vehicle, is maintaining a low-altitude flight at 120 feet above the Seim River, using the morning fog for visual cover. The target is the Kurchatov Nuclear Power Plant, Russia's third-largest nuclear facility, which provides electricity to 20 separate regions. This mission takes place in February 2026, marking 4 years since the full-scale invasion began. While the Russian military continues to launch Caliber and Shahed strikes against Ukrainian infrastructure in Kiev and Odessa, creating widespread blackouts, Ukraine is executing a surgical counterstrike. The GOGOL-M Mothership serves as a long-range carrier. Attached to its chassis are 4 fiber-optic hybrid FPV drones. Each drone weighs 12 pounds and is equipped with 2 pounds of thermite capable of reaching 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit, alongside high-explosive warheads. Russia maintains that its nuclear infrastructure is shielded by an impenetrable defense network. However, the GOGOL-M mission is designed to exploit the technical limitations of these billion-dollar radars. 4 precision strike drones are currently moving toward the auxiliary systems of the plant. The operation to neutralize a critical Russian energy hub has officially reached the terminal phase. The strike begins now. 5:05 hours. The GOGOL-M Mothership is hiding in the only place Russian radar can't reach. Having crossed the Sumy border into the Kursk Oblast, the 450-pound carrier is maintaining a sustained altitude of exactly 120 feet. With ridges on both sides rising up to 738 feet, the mothership is effectively flying inside a trench that blocks the line of sight for every long-range S-400 radar in the sector. But flying a heavy-lift platform at these altitudes is a high-stakes gamble against physics. 35-mile-per-hour crosswinds are slamming into the GOGOL-M's large surface area, trying to shove it into the frozen riverbanks. In the Sumy Command Center, the operator's hands are locked on the controls, monitoring hundreds of automated flight corrections per second. At 110 miles per hour, there is zero margin for error. One bad gust, one sensor glitch, and an $18,000 investment becomes a heap of carbon fiber and thermite at the bottom of the Seim. The tactical math here is brutal for the Kremlin. At 120 feet, the Earth's curvature creates a physical radar horizon. If the GOGOL-M stays this low, a Russian radar station 15 miles away literally cannot see it. The drone is hidden behind the bulge of the planet itself. A Russian 92 N6E search radar sweeps the sector, but the GOGOL-M is buried so deep in the river valley that the return signal is indistinguishable from ground clutter. To the Russian computers, the mothership is just another flickering shadow among the trees and ice. By 0533 hours, the GOGOL-M has penetrated 52 miles into Russian airspace. It has successfully bypassed the initial border screen and is now closing in on the Kurchatov Nuclear Power Plant. The operator checks the telemetry one last time. The internal heaters are holding the 4 FPV drones at a steady temperature despite the 28-degree Fahrenheit air outside. They have reached the outer engagement envelope of the plant's defenses. The GOGOL-M has finished the approach. 5:35 hours. The GOGOL-M is exactly 24 miles from the Kurchatov Nuclear Power Plant when the electronic landscape shifts from quiet to lethal. The 92 N6E gravestone radar, the eyes of the S-400 system, finally manages to filter the drone's signature out of the ground clutter. Even at 120 feet, a 450-pound airframe eventually leaves a trace. Inside the Russian command van, the operator's screen lights up with a hard lock. The Russian response is immediate and expensive. 240 N6 surface-to-air missiles erupt from their canisters, accelerating toward Mach 14 in a matter of seconds. These are $1.5 million interceptors designed to kill high-value aircraft hundreds of miles away, and they are now arcing through the dawn sky toward a single drone. Simultaneously, a Panzer S-1 unit positioned on the plant's outer perimeter brings its twin 30mm autocannons to bear, spitting fire into the mist at 5,000 rounds per minute. The math for the GOGOL-M looks impossible. It is a slow, heavy target facing Mach 14 interceptors, but the Ukrainian operator has been waiting for this exact signature. At the 22-mile mark, he triggers the first release. A single FPV decoy drone, equipped with an oversized radar reflector to mimic the mothership's electronic footprint, is jettisoned and commanded to climb rapidly to 500 feet. The S-400's fire control computer, optimized for high-speed, high-altitude threats, makes a fatal calculation error. It prioritizes the climbing target, the decoy, because it presents a clearer, more dangerous profile. The two 40N6 missiles adjust their flight paths, tracking the decoy into the atmosphere where they detonate in a massive, useless display of tungsten and fire. The Panzer S-1 operators, distracted by the glare of their own missiles, also shift their 30mm fire toward the falling wreckage of the decoy. The Russians are cheering over their headsets, convinced they've just downed the primary threat. However, they have just spent $3 million in missiles to kill a $500 piece of plastic and plywood. While the Russian defenders are busy celebrating their intercept, the real GOGOL-M remains at 120 feet, slipping through the temporary gap they just opened in their own defensive screen. The billion-dollar nuclear umbrella has a hole in it, and the main strike force is already through. 5:38 hours, the mission has reached its critical pivot point. At exactly 19 miles from the Kurchatov Nuclear Power Plant, the GOGOL-M Mothership reaches its release coordinates. On the operator's command, the pneumatic clamps on the carrier's belly disengage. 3 specialized hybrid FPV drones, each weighing 12 pounds, are dropped into the slipstream. As they fall, they unspool a micro-thin strand of fiber-optic cable behind them. This is the ultimate tactical insurance policy. While most drones rely on radio frequencies that can be jammed, intercepted, or spoofed, these FPV drones are physically tethered to the GOGOL-M, which acts as a high-altitude relay. The Russian Defense Command, realizing the first intercept was a decoy, activates the Kursk 4 electronic warfare system at maximum power. This is Russia's premier mobile jamming suite, designed to turn a 150-mile radius into a digital graveyard. It floods every known control frequency with high-intensity noise. In any other scenario, a drone swarm would simply fall out of the sky as their radio links are severed. But physics doesn't negotiate with radio waves. In the Sumy Command Center, the video feed doesn't even flicker. To the Kursk 4, the sky is filled with a deafening electronic scream. But the Ukrainian signal is traveling through a thread of glass. It is the ultimate technological middle finger. While the Russian operators are cranking their jamming power to 100%, trying to shout down a radio signal that isn't there, the Ukrainian operators are enjoying a lag-free 4K resolution view of the riverbank. It's like trying to jam a Wi-Fi signal in a house where everyone is using a hardwired Ethernet cable. The 3 FPV drones drop to an altitude of just 80 feet, skimming the surface of the Seim River. At 120 miles per hour, the water below is a blur of ice and dark currents. The drones begin to separate. One FPV drone breaks north, targeting the massive auxiliary transformer yard. The other 2 maintain a tight formation, heading directly for the plant's critical cooling system infrastructure. The S-400's gravestone radar is still trying to recalibrate after the decoy explosion, but by the time it finds these 3 small, low-flying objects, they are already using the natural curve of the Seim River Valley as a shield. The math of the strike is now a 19-mile sprint against a blind giant. The Russians are jamming the air, but the Ukrainians are already in the wires. The countdown to the blackout has officially begun. 0542 hours. The tactical situation shifts from a high-speed approach to a desperate scramble for survival. As the 3 FPV drones exit the primary river trench and approach the inner security perimeter of the Kurchatov Nuclear Power Plant, the Panzer S-1 units finally achieve a thermal lock. The Russian operators, now fully alert, launch 2 57 E-6 missiles into the dawn mist. The first missile detonates in a proximity burst. The FPV drone survives the shockwave, but a piece of high-velocity shrapnel severs the micro-thin fiber-optic cable. Instantly, the operator's screen in Sumy goes black. The alarm "Signal Lost" blares through the command center. In any other drone operation, this would be the end, a $12,000 piece of tech turning into unguided scrap metal. But the Ukrainian engineers had built a fail-forward system. The drone's onboard computer detects the loss of the physical link and immediately switches to its secondary AI navigation mode. Using a pre-programmed 3D topographical map of the Seim River ravines and the Kurchatov facility, the drone ceases to be a remote-controlled aircraft and becomes an autonomous hunter. As the second 57E6 missile screams toward it, the AI executes a high G barrel roll, banking just 12 feet away from the supersonic interceptor. The drone isn't guessing, it is matching its camera feed to the landscape at 60 frames per second. Simultaneously, the S-400's Big Bird acquisition radar tries to re-establish a track. But the math of the radar horizon is working against the Kremlin. Because the drones have dropped to an altitude of just 80 feet, they have entered the radar dip, a physical blind spot where the radar beam, limited by its own mounting height and the Earth's curvature, cannot tilt low enough to see them. Inside the Russian command bunker, the operator's voice cracks over the radio. "They're under us! How is this possible?" The ace in the hole is now fully revealed. While the first drone is operating on pure AI, the second and third FPV drones still have their fiber-optic tethers intact, providing the operators with a lag-free 4K view of the objective. They crest the final ridge of the Seim Valley, and the target finally fills the screen: the massive auxiliary transformer yard and the sprawling 8-square-mile cooling pond. The Russian defenders are firing everything they have: heavy machine guns, assault rifles, even flare guns, trying to hit a target they can barely see in the mist. But the drones are moving at 120 miles per hour, navigating with surgical precision through the power lines. The operators are looking for the soft tissue, the massive oil-filled transformers that act as the electrical heart of the facility. The math of the strike has reached its final seconds. 5:44 hours. The mission is now 4 miles from terminal impact. Inside the plant's command center, the atmosphere is pure panic. Russian security units are screaming over open frequencies, ordering everything that can fire to engage. Heavy machine guns are spraying the sky, and tracers are arcing across the morning mist like angry fireflies. But the 3 FPV drones are moving at 120 miles per hour, staying just 5 feet above the cooling pond surface to avoid the line of fire. The Russian defenders are literally shooting over the top of the threat. 5:45 hours. The strike is a masterclass in physical and thermal destruction. The first FPV drone impacts the primary auxiliary transformer. Upon contact, it releases its 2-pound payload of thermite, which instantly ignites at 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The intense heat doesn't just burn, it melts through the transformer's heavy steel casing like a hot knife through butter. Thousands of gallons of highly flammable mineral oil used for insulation catch fire instantly. Simultaneously, the second and third FP5 drones impact the critical secondary cooling pipes. The high explosive warheads generate an 8.2 psi overpressure wave, enough to shatter the structural integrity of the reinforced piping. As the cooling lines rupture, the plant's automated safety systems detect a catastrophic drop in pressure. This is the ultimate checkmate for Russian energy. The physics of the facility take over. To prevent a meltdown, the plant's safety parameter display system initiates an emergency power descent. Reactor 3, the heart of the facility, automatically drops its output by 62% within 9 minutes to avoid a thermal excursion. The aftermath is total chaos for the Kremlin. The city of Kurchatov and 20 surrounding regions go dark as the auxiliary transformers, the bridge between the reactor and the grid, melt into piles of glowing slag. While the IAEA confirms there is no radiation leak, they are forced to report a major safety incident that has effectively neutralized Russia's third-largest power hub. Look at the math of the day. One $18,000 flight just shook a multi-billion-dollar nuclear facility. Ukraine didn't need to destroy the reactor, they just needed to melt the soft tissue around it. While Washington whispered about satellite intel, the Ukrainian military proved they had the guts to fly a 450-pound mothership into the lion's den and walk away with the prize. Putin's nuclear umbrella was proven to be a billion-dollar paperweight. Ukraine just demonstrated that a nuclear facility isn't a shield. It's a massive vulnerability if you have the intelligence to think outside the box. Russia lost power to millions of its citizens, but more importantly, it lost its sense of security. So, what do you think? If you were the Ukrainian commander, would you have targeted the transformers or the main control room? Let me know in the comments. GOGOL-M just delivered the mail, straight to Putin's ego. Hit that like button and subscribe if you want to see which Russian target gets delisted next. Stay sharp and stay awesome, Ukraine. Bye for now.